I mean, I'm somebody who could play the, well, let me ask you this question. Do you think I could pass as mentally disabled? Be careful.
No, no.
Oh,
I don't
thank
know
you.
back then, but not right now.
Not right. I love that. That is a great, but the day's early.
The only question would be if you need to take meds to calm down. Do you have to take meds or you don't take meds at all?
I haven't for about 6 months now. I was talking to, again, my son last night, and he is delighted.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Dad, it's like you're this different person. He's the one that explained the story about, the ice cream. And I was just extreme. It's like, Dad, can you just let people believe what they want to believe and not look down your self-righteous nose at folks that I don't know. It was a great conversation. It was long overdue. It was neat.
Now this is that's got to be pretty powerful. And I don't see you as looking down at somebody. Maybe I should listen to the show more. I don't know.
Oh, no. In the past, I said this to somebody, Jesus could even save somebody like you, Alex. It's like, what the hell does that mean? This was self-righteous. That's just such a self-righteous statement. And I didn't even realize how full of myself I was when I said it. It's just,
in other words, you learned from those kinds of things.
It's like this, it's constant, and I'm loving being corrected by my heavenly Father, because a loving father is going to chastise their child, as the Bible says, and he will use my wife to help me get it. And I am just thrilled reminds me of a song, Bend Me, Shape Me, any way you want me, long as you love me, it's all right.
Did you ever get slapped around for trying to evangelize and say Jesus will save you and stuff like that?
I enjoy being slapped. No, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. I was referred to one time as a long-haired, Bible-thumping Jesus freak. And I said, that's one of the nicest things anybody has said to me in a while. And it was a teacher from the high school. And I had a number of their students come in and do the job shadowing. Mm-hmm. And they got to do a little radio thing, live air stuff. And I loved it. And they loved it. And anyway.
And it's interesting that your son is advising you, because I'm kind of helping my mother through certain things during the day, and then I realized how much I actually know about her life, that even when I wasn't really here through college and all that, I kind of picked up, because I just recounted everything she did the last 10 years. I'm like, I really did know what you were up to while I was in college. So that kind of felt cool.
Well, yeah. And I think maybe because my mama knows that I know about some stuff back in the day that she's not proud of, but I sure understand why she did the things she did. And I never judged her for it. It was more like, I get it, Mom. I understand why you did that.
But for me, it was more like I'd see the career she was doing, and I was like very proud of her, because she was so happy she was doing things and making a living for all. I mean, it was amazing to see what she was able to do.
Oh, I get you. Yeah. Well, and I get that one too. My mom never drove. She went through all the stuff, had a driver's license, but she never drove. And so she walked to work. Yeah. I mean, she'd take off at 4:00 in the morning and walk miles. I mean, I'm not talking, a couple of blocks. I'm talking at least 2 miles, if not more.
And that would be in snow. That would be in rain.
No, she never did the rain snow thing, but it could have been. She's my mother has never played the poor me, and I don't think that's where you were going with that.
No. What was what was her role? What was her job?
She worked at a bakery in a local store.
Was retirement really hard for her? Like, was that the toughest?
Extremely. It was very hard for her not to. In fact, when she quit working, this is true for me too. when she quit being out in the public, she went downhill. My mom is somebody who just I I don't know. I need people.
I was.
People. Sorry.
I know I'm starting to feel. I am not ashamed to admit I'm starting to feel a bit lonely now. Like at the end, so you do your work day, you do the whole radio thing, and then because everything's closed down, you have nothing to look forward to.
Guess what?
What?
I'm so excited. I got a message last night from the guy that runs Wilson's Tap. They're opening Thursday morning, and I'm going to go in and do Coke. It's $1 for refills.
I know. I got where you were going there.
I know you do. You know me. You know I'm not that kind of guy.
Now, do they still do the prayer stuff? Are they going to kick that back up when it opens again? Or like the
That
church?
really is kind of, well, it's not my call. And I start that? I don't know for sure what's going to happen. I just know that I love those folks and I love being there, and I've made new friends, and I don't think I have any new enemies. No, I think I'm pretty well accepted there.
Good. So maybe you can, because reason I ask is I'm going to talk with someone on Sunday who his name is Wayne Vanderwall. I don't know if you know the name, but he's not an official pastor, but he does do pastoring at a local jail. He goes to the jails and helps the inmates find Jesus and talk about God.
You're doing that on Sunday?
Well, I'm doing the interview on Sunday, but my point is he's been locked out of the jail because of the COVID crisis. So I'm going to talk to him about what that looks like for him moving forward, if they're talking about going back in or not.
Yeah, it's and I still don't know. I don't know. I just see this. It's kind of like fear of the unknown, and heaven forbid we should, like I hugged 2 people that weren't family members. You going to turn me in 311?
I gave my dad a big hug yesterday. I felt very nice about that.
Wasn't it great?
We were just sitting down outside next to Memorial, just resting, listening to Rush and listening to a few other things. So it was nice.
Wow. That sounds great.
It was the first really time since mid-April I'd seen him, and also one of the first big trips he's taken since this whole thing started. So it was good to see him. Yeah.
Yep. Need to get over to see my mommy again. This is it's been really tough, and it is affecting people.
It is. I mean, suicides are starting to go up. That's the other thing about this.
Yeah, I well, I won't talk about that one, but anyway, life is good. I think it still comes back to, having hope, and without hope.
On that note, what can we look forward to on Radio Hope, 9 a.m. Eastern? Positive Addiction by Dr. William Glosser.
I am addicted to life. That's the best way to put it. Now, but lately though, like you, I've been kind of having a little bit of the blues, and it's kind of a time to look at what's the deal? What's going on, Mike? Why are you? And I think it's just it's just this long period of not getting to engage. Now, yesterday, it was a blast on 8th Street at the Elks Club. There were a bunch of people there. It was so encouraging. And I think they did well. I bought 2 hot dogs and shared one with my son.
That's cool.
Did I answer your question?
Does that make you feel like you're back in the older days where your kids are having a hot dog with you on Memorial Day, like when they're really, really, really young?
Yeah. In fact, it just reminded me of a picture of my Daniel and Michael and myself. I'm bare-chested with a pretty blue hat on by a tree, and we're just all smiling. We were camping at Okoboji.
On Memorial Day weekend, or just a random weekend?
Just a random weekend. I have to admit, I'm not real big on specific holidays, but that's kind of where the tradition. It's important to remember these days. I mean, that's why you really kind of got me yesterday. I wasn't. I don't even know how much I talked. Oh, the opening song was about.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that opening song, which was great.
And the rest was of the follow-up to, the dream seller, Brandon Novak. But anyway, hey, I do want to take time to thank you because you've gotten me inspired. I will do another short video,
Cool.
a pre-show video, and they're
Mike,
fun.
do you have a Facebook page for the show, or is it just Mike Myers is where the show
I
launches
have
from?
Radio Hope show page, Radio Hope meditation and medication, which I really have not
Ooh.
done much with. It's just another place to post things on. And then my and a Muck Radio page. Gosh, I got more than I thought. And my personal page.
Well, I gotta start tagging you because when I try and tag you on my show page, it doesn't register your name. I don't know why that is. Your Facebook page, personal page. So I don't know what that's about.
Really?
It goes from blue to like black. It just goes from linked to unlinked. So I don't know what that's about.
Interesting. Huh.
But I'll find the Radio Hope show and tag you there because I think that should stay. Stick.
Appreciate that.
Well, we'll be listening to you 9 a.m. Eastern. I know you want to start prepping, so we will, unless you got a few minutes. I don't know what your timeline's like. But.
I actually am good to go. I got a new CD. Actually, got the instant gratification MP3 download, and I'll get the physical CD today. But it's by a guy by the name of David Crowder.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, this has got some really pumping. I'm going to open with either Better Than Drugs by Skillet or Run Devil Run.
That's cool. You do all this, you spend a lot of money on did you spend a lot of money on the CD or not really?
$12.
Are you, you don't have to answer this, but are you collecting at least something because you're not doing the driving, or is the driving still sustaining you? Like, are they paying you?
Oh, amazingly, we still get paid.
That's awesome.
It is great. In fact, it's really interesting because my last check, which this is the 26th, which will hit our account on the 29th, both Laura and I, and it was like an extra $200. I did some training, and I think that finally caught up, and I finally got credit for that. So, we're 4 folks that we're doing well. I mean,
you're fortunate. I mean, you're very fortunate.
Very, very fortunate. And I would have understood. I would have been a little upset, but I would have understood if the school said, "Hey, this, is COVID an act of God?" Boy, I don't think so. I think it's part of just being a fallen. Anyway, what am I trying to say? I would understand if the taxpayers said, "Well, he's not driving. Why should he get paid?" I get it.
Well,
and it is taxpayers' money, right?
It is. And I know that you don't necessarily like that people collect unemployment, but I think also it's good that we have that for the moment. But I think we both agree we can't rely on that for the long-term haul.
No, and it sounds like we're going to get another one, which really surprises me because of all the pork that's added onto it.
Yeah, and by the way, I realize what they mean by that whole thing. It's not even actual pork. I literally thought they stuck like pork in the No, I thought it had something to do with like the pig production and stuff. I'm like, what are they doing? But I realized pork is just fattening up the bill to do a bunch of shit.
Yeah, with things that really don't, like I love the Postal Service. I have to admit, for what they do, rain, snow, wind, whatever. But I was talking to a guy on Sunday who delivered a package, and I said, "I bet you get paid, whatever, time and a half, double." He said, "Well, tomorrow I think we get triple time." Holy smokes.
And I'd be okay with people getting paid during this time from the government, but I'm not okay. And I think this is where we see eye to eye, and people saying, "Oh, I can live like this forever." No, you can't. And no, you shouldn't live like this forever. I mean, this isn't ideal for anybody.
Well, it's nursing on the government teat, which is actually my. Sorry.
You, because you contribute to the taxes and stuff.
Right. It's all our, and I had made this comment to, actually it was my son yesterday. And I said, the thing that bothers me most is you guys are getting, get this. I said, you guys are getting stuck with a debt. And he said, no problem, Dad. You're welcome. What? What kind of statement is that?
I don't know.
Well,
By
it
the
doesn't
way,
make sense.
before we part our ways this morning, Ed Delgado, gotta love that he's doing something different than the usual Caramel Conservative. He's got a DJ booth now set up on Spreaker.com, which I think is
What?
fun. He's doing club quarantine DJ. I think that's hilarious.
Oh, wow. I haven't kept up with Ed there. That sounds like some happening stuff.
So I gotta see. He's at the Caramel Conservative. I gotta see what he's doing exactly. So, Michael, I'm always.
Do you know if he'll be on tonight?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him yet today. So
Okay.
possibly so. I don't know.
If so, 8 Central Daylight Time, the Caramel Conservative with Ed Delgado.
And then 8 a.m. Central Time. He's on 12 hours later than you are, which I think is kind of somewhat parallel there. I don't know. I guess there's like a
Oh,
parallel.
and real quick, and yeah, I'm kind of keeping you going here, but I revamped my 24/7 stream.
Oh,
And
tell
I
us
was
about that.
amazed at how quickly I got that done, and it worked. And anyway, so now I just have to do a little tweaking on my MikeMyers.org page.
Well, I'm very happy that the bus company is supplying you still. That's really good news because you never know in this time.
And it's specifically the Boone Community School District. Now, today, I think Laura's got a job. She's going to be calling a bunch of parents or something. So, and it's something that's volunteer.
See, and you're just correct. You're just giving us a different feel on school boards because when people talk about school boards, they think, oh, it's political, it's heartless. You're giving us kind of a different angle to that with that statement.
Well, I will tell you what, there are some really, really neat people in our public school system here in Boone. They also have been feeding, I think, kids under the age of 18 during this whole thing, providing meals every weekday, and thousands of meals. It's just amazing. But I think it's cool what they're doing.
And do they deliver, or do the kids go to the school?
The kids go to various locations and pick up.
We're doing that here in the city too, which I love that New York City is doing that.
It's fantastic. That's what we ought to be about.
And I also do agree with everybody on the planet that says we need to reopen the schools. These kids can't handle isolation much longer either.
It's not good. It's not healthy. Isolate. We are creatures designed for relationships. And
what do kids want? They want to play with other kids. That's their thing. That's the whole thing.
Kids just want to have fun. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, Michael, I love it. I love it. Oh, and this is what I want to show you. I finally got this working.
I am so jealous.
And a friend of mine from upstate New York, who I'm having on today, late for air tomorrow, is he's the one that mailed me this, and I was like, this is a surprise, but thank you.
So you found out?
Mm-hmm.
It is a cool device. I actually have, I don't know how many different, you can get that on your smartphone. I am so right now getting tuned in to growing in my faith. And it's hurt a little bit when you take a look at yourself and kind of go, ooh, do I do that? Yeah. Ooh, yuck, gross. Thanks for pointing it out.
My yardstick seems to be the daily verse that I look at through my app. And if it's so powerful, I feel like sharing it with the world because as I say, we can't hoard inspiration. We have to share it with everybody during this time, and that's what I love that.
We can hoard it, but you're exactly right. We can't. Well, you can't, and I can't because hopefully that's what we do. I mean, it's not fine, die and go to hell.
We are giving people. We give people some sort of electricity, like I just notice when I'm around people, like they sort of become
energized.
Yeah, I don't know what I do. It just feels it.
It's catchy,
and I'm sure you do the same thing. And
the enthusiasm can be very catchy, and also vice versa.
The question I'm now dealing with, maybe you are too, is how do we become also takers instead of just strictly givers?
Oh, and now, just a little bit of one there. You're exactly right, because if we're not when I was talking to my eldest son last night, I said something about, Laura is my first concern, but as that was coming out, I also realized I need to love myself or I won't have anything to love her with, and I need to know how much I'm loved by God. And so it's this beautiful, it's back to giving God preeminence in everything, and he'll take care of the rest. And
Do
it's
you
not about religion.
so do you think Laura's love is sort of like reflecting God's love or something to that?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt. It's got to be. There's no doubt about it. He loves us even when we're unlovely. Ugh,
Oh, that's so true.
ugh.
Oh, he walks with us every day, no matter where we are, and that's the powerful thing to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, Michael, I'll let you get to your pod and get ready for it, and we'll be listening 9 a.m. Eastern.
All righty. Thank you, brother. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
brother. Be well. And as for me, I might as well keep recording and put this on YouTube in a bit. So yesterday in New York, you might have been listening to some radio stations around the city, around the country, and you might have heard about the Fisher House Foundation. You might have heard a Fisher House Memorial Day special. And I had decided to actually listen to it for a few minutes. And those few minutes I listened to it were so inspiring, I thought I'd talk about them for a minute. In case you aren't familiar with the Fisher House Family Foundation, they're founded by Zachary Fisher and Elizabeth Fisher. Now, keep in mind, as someone in radio, I hear the Fisher House all the time because we would run specials on the New York stations and whatnot. But when you really hear it and hear the story, it's pretty incredible. Zachary was a native of Brooklyn, and he really wanted to, as a bricklayer, go into the service and to help out his country. Strong support of the U.S. Armed Services. But as a bricklayer, he suffered a leg injury which prevented him from actually going into active service. So what did he do? He assisted the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in the construction of coastal fortifications. He became more involved with it to the point where in 1990, Zachary and Elizabeth, his wife Elizabeth Fisher, founded the Fisher House program, dedicating more than $20 million to the construction of comfort homes for families of hospitalized military personnel. Fisher Houses operated at military bases and Department of Veteran Affairs medical centers throughout the nation. More than 11,000 families are served by the Fisher House every year. And since the program's inception, more than 120,000 families have actually stayed in Fisher houses, saving them an estimated $100 million in lodging and transportation costs. The Fisher House program continues today with over 40 houses open and more planned under construction. Now, a charity that I used to be very involved with, the Ronald McDonald House, was very much so an inspiration of Zachary and Elizabeth. Because what they had seen with the Ronald McDonald House was a place where they could care for the sick and sick kids is what the Ronald McDonald House does. Those kids suffering with cancer and other life-threatening illnesses, Ronald McDonald House keeps them comfortable, keeps them safe, works to get them healed. Much like, and so that's where the Fisher House idea came from. But as I was listening further, as you know, every year the Intrepid hosts Fleet Week, which unfortunately we didn't have this year in Midtown Manhattan. But the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum is possible because of the Fishers. They had seen the aircraft was, I guess, about to go to the scrapyard. I mean, this amazing ship, naval ship, going to the scrapyard. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if the Fishers didn't step in and save the Intrepid? It would have been horrible. And yet in 1982, after founding the Intrepid Museum in 1978, in 1982, the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum was open for the public. So it's because of their efforts, Zachary and Elizabeth Fisher, that we today can say we love, we are part of, the Intrepid is part of our city each and every year beyond Memorial Day. And for them to not let it go to the scrapyard is beautiful in and of itself. So I just want to take the time. And by the way, in World War II, Elizabeth Fisher served in the USO, entertaining over 157,000 troops overseas with the Ziegfeld Follies. She also volunteered to visit American troops who were hospitalized and spent many hours at their bedside. She got involved with the Veteran Bedside Network, a support organization for injured veterans. Look, Memorial Day is a day we honor the troops, but I do feel like the minute the clock turns to the next day, it's back to business as usual. Well, it doesn't have to be. If you just perk up your ears a little more, if you perk up your minds a little more, you can see that every day veterans are being helped, treated, supported, one day at a time. By the way, thanks to Kenny Albert for sharing his story as not only a play-by-play man, but also of his family, his grandfathers who served in the wars. So if you want to find out more, go to intrepidmuseum.org. And if you want to find out more about the Fisher House itself, and they've also gotten involved with the Fallen Heroes Fund, which was established after Zachary Fisher's passing. If you want to know more about the Fisher House, go to fallenheroesfund.org. And you can donate and you can be part of it. You can help our veterans who, to this day, their battles don't stop after Memorial Day. Their battles don't stop after July the 4th. Their battles continue for our battles here in America. Or for our freedoms here in America. Their battles continue for us to be able to wake up in America with our own battles, sure. And the freedoms they fight for allow us to wake up here in America and say, you know what? We're going to get this right today. But one final thought this Memorial Day. And I wrote this on my Facebook page, my personal. Memorial Day occurs because the brave men and women have never wanted to quarantine themselves in the time of battle. Those who need to during this time, I applaud it for having that restraint, those high risks that need to quarantine and not get themselves sick. But those who desperately want to get out but don't follow social distancing among strangers, Mike, you are an exception to this, but for millennials, for anybody else in the big city in New York, I mean, it's just foolish when I see people gathering in Central Park not abiding by social distance. That's foolishness because we're still a hot zone here. Thank God, though, deaths have been lowest they've been since this whole thing started. But to me, this day in this time is about as being as measured as we were when we stormed the beaches of Normandy. Today's heroes, our frontline heroes, are being measured in ways they take care of themselves and the sick, the doctors, the nurses, taking care of themselves and the sick. And if we just took the cues of them and those before us, we can definitely open back up with the freedoms fought for over the generations. We must not fear, but we also must be measured. Because our military isn't around today by being sloppy. In fact, I think we are the most measured country when it comes to the way we operate our military around the world. I know maybe sometimes the airstrikes have hit civilians, but under Trump, that's really not happened. It's amazing how measured he's been in airstrikes around the globe. But for the most part, our military has survived sequesters. They've survived people spitting at them for joining the army. They've survived. They've survived Vietnam, for example. They've survived efforts to try and strengthen and lessen, actually, the military presence. And yet here we are, 57,000 members of the Department of Defense nationwide fighting COVID alone. Can you imagine that? So they're fighting their battles every day. It doesn't just start on Memorial Day or end on Memorial Day. It's an ongoing battle. Like I'm sure all of us are dealing with ongoing battles in our lives. So let's not for a minute think that Memorial Day, July the 4th, Veterans Day are the only 3 days we can really honor the troops. We must honor them daily because they are keeping us as safe as they can, as free as they can daily, even in the COVID crisis. I'm Alex Garrett. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and have a blessed rest of your Tuesday.